class, yeah, I mean, it would have to be majority. Then I might, do a little assignment for a couple of points. But I'll let you all know. Okay. So now, so we talked about reinforcement, punishment, basic principles of behavior. We talked about how to increase behaviors, how to decrease behaviors. Now we're going to be looking into the actual procedures that we use, and one of them is known as shaping. And shaping is a procedure that we use to get new behavior to occur. Okay? So, I kind of already told you what it is. I wanted you all to let's think about the second part, with shaping. Okay, so we're trying to get new behavior to occur. Do you think we would use reinforcement or punishment? Reinforcement. Yes, we would use reinforcement. Why would we not use punishment? Right. If by definition punishment is used to decrease a behavior, well, if we're trying to teach a whole new behavior to occur, why would we even use punishment? Right? That's not the way to go about it. So yes, we would use reinforcement of specifically what are known as successive approximation of a target behavior. What do you think successive approximations are? Those of you that hopefully maybe glimpsed the chapter. What do you think that is? A little at a time, right? Little pieces of the behavior to get the whole behavior to occur. Yeah, so little steps. Okay, little steps of a behavior. And when you use shaping, you are going to use the principles of both reinforcement and extinction. So that's why I mentioned, if you didn't understand those principles, make sure you go back and reread those chapters, so that way this will make sense as to why we use these principles when we're trying to shape a new behavior to occur. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, is how do we do that? How do we shape behavior? So when do we use shaping? Well, like I said, you use it to teach new behaviors, but not just new behaviors in general, but more specifically, new topographies of a behavior. So topographies just means how does the behavior look? Okay? We can shape that up to make it look better, to make that person perform the behavior better. To develop new dimensions of a behavior. So maybe, for example, and it is an example that I'm going to talk about. There was a study that was done where the student, she was able to speak. You couldn't hear what she said, right? Her volume was very, very low. So they used shaping procedures to get her to talk in a normal volume, so people could hear her and understand her. Okay, so that is a dimension of a behavior. What dimension do you think it is? Intensity. Very good. Yes. Shaping can also be used to reinstate old behaviors that are not occurring. So, for example, in some cases with autism, individuals, let's say, were developing at a typical, they were typically developing normally. Let's say they were able to speak, they had words, they were able to socialize a little bit, but then something happens and then they start to lose all of those behaviors. So now we want to bring those behaviors back. So we could use shaping to those behaviors start occur again. So to be able to help them talk again and use words, okay, shaping is used. And also, when we are not able to give instructions, so just simply telling the person what to do, right? Read this word, or what does this say, or okay, now you're going to tie your shoes, you're going to pull the string, you're going to make a little, knot, you're going to, when they're not able to follow instructions, shaping is used. When modeling is not used, is not effective. So just by you showing them what to do, if they're not able to copy, we would use shaping. And prompting, we're going to talk about prompting in the next chapter. Prompting is just maybe giving them a little, I don't want to say push, but like let's say if you show them what to do, let's say tying their shoes, right? You show them how to tie their shoes, and instead of telling them directions on how to do it, just simply maybe putting the shoelaces in front of them. Like a little cue. Yeah. Yeah, like a signal. That's what a prompt is, like a cue signal. Okay. So examples. I already talked about Jackson and Wallace's study. This is where they increased the volume of a little girl, of voice volume, a 15-year-old girl. Also, toileting potty training. You're using shaping. Probably a lot of you have already used shaping procedures. If you have a little, if you've had a child and you've potty trained them, depending on how you did it, you might have used shaping procedures. So we'll talk about that. And then, what else? Increasing the frequency of spoken words in adults that have stuttering problems. So to be able to get them to decrease the stuttering and to increase, just the typical form of the word without stuttering. So shaping has been used to do that. Also, your book goes into how shaping was used to get a preschooler to wear his glasses. So little kids, of course, right, 3, 4-year-olds, you put glasses on them, they probably want to rip them off and not wear them. Well, shaping was used, and you can read this. Actually, if you want, I think they just give a brief summary of these articles, but you can look them up and see maybe if you can get access to them, because these would be really, really interesting for you to read and see how, specifically they did it. And then animal training. How many of you have trained your dog or an animal to sit, to roll over, to do anything, right? You have probably, or you have used shaping procedures. You just did not know. Okay? So, by definition, how do we use this? How do we know, when to use it? Well, first, always, we need to define our target behavior. So, what is the behavior that we're going to shape? Is it increasing voice volume? Increasing frequency of words? For example, B.F. Skinner used shaping in the laboratory with rats in his Skinnerian box, right? Who knows about that lab procedure where he shaped a rat to be able to press the lever to get food? Remembers that? Yeah, right? Okay. Well, he used shaping procedures to train the rat that every time, if he wanted a piece of food, all he had to do was go to the lever and press it. And then when he pressed it, a little food pellet came out and he ate. So if they are hungry, they can just press that thing all day until they get full. And I'll show you guys a video on how to do that. I wish I could take you all to our behavioral neuroscience lab and you all can shape your own rat. But that is something that I know they do in the graduate program. So if this is something you're kind of interested in, if you do take a graduate course, I know Dr. And if you're afraid of rats, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, and then the second step, determine if shaping is appropriate. So shaping is not used for all clients because if I can give them instructions, I'm not going to use shaping. I can just write them a list of steps to do, and they can do it on their own. Okay? Or modeling or prompting. If you can do any of these three with your client, you would not have to use shaping. Okay? And then the third step, which is important, is to identify what's called the starting behavior. That is your first step of your successive approximation of the behavior. So the starting behavior, where am I going to start? So let's go back to Skinner's example of shaping his rats. Okay, well, what's the target behavior? Pressing the lever. That's the target behavior. Well, where do I start? Where do you think how do you think they started? Well, that's the target. That's what we want him to do. We want him to press the lever. But we need to break that down. So, okay, just a little background. There's the Skinnerian box, right? This little box. You put the rat in there. Then where do you start? What do you think?
Every time that he gets closer to the lever, does something with it, you treat it, you give it a...
Okay, so maybe maybe you'll determine a certain amount of inches that the rat has to be from the lever. Okay, yeah, and then you would reinforce. You'd give them a food pellet. That could be a starting behavior. Okay? Then, okay, so that would be the starting behavior. Let's just go with that. What else? Yeah, it just says the person must already exhibit the behavior. So you don't want to, your starting behavior doesn't want to be something new that you have to teach. That's what your target behavior is. It has to be something that the person does or has done before, so you can reinforce that. So then the person will, oh, okay, well I just did that and I got reinforced. So I'm going to do that again. So then you're going to get reinforced again. Okay? And it says choose a behavior that you can build on in order to achieve the target behavior. So now, choosing the shaping steps is next. So you've already have your target behavior. You've decided you're going to use shaping. You've figured out your starting behavior. So let's say, okay, the rat is in the box. He's in the box. We want him to know that he's going to get food from the little, in the box there's like a little, it's called a food tray, and that's where the food is dropped into, okay? So when he's in the box, yeah, you want to drop some food in there. That way he knows at least, oh, that's where I get my food, okay? Now each step is a closer approximation to the target behavior. So let's say he's 12 inches away from the lever. We're going to reinforce. What do you think the next step might be? What do you think?
Touch the lever. Well, I think you have to do an extension in order for it to move closer, right?
Mm-hmm. So that was a good response, touching the lever. However, we do want to make sure that our steps are not too big. So that is going to be a step, but not the second step. Because first, let's just say that this is my food tray. Okay? And I'm a little rat, and I come in, and this is my box. Okay? So I'm just here, I'm walking, and then all of a sudden the food gets dropped. Right? But I probably don't even realize that until I'm over here. Oh, there's a food. I'm going to eat the food. Then I'm going to just roam around my box area, and I roam around. I'm in the same spot. Another food gets dropped in. I look. Oh, there's another food, right? What did I do before that? Oh, let's see. I was over here. So then they're going to come back to their spot. You're going to get food again. Once the where is it? Once you realize or you've seen that the rat has already learned that, okay, well, when I'm here, I get reinforced, then you know you can move on to the next step, which would be, let's say, a couple of inches closer now. Let's say it's hanging out on this side of the box versus this side. So now, when the rat walks around and he goes back to his original to step one, he's not going to get reinforced. So extinction is going to be used because now we want the second step to occur. So now when he's over here, he's going to get reinforced. Oh, I got reinforced. He's going to get his food. Then if he comes back here, you're not going to reinforce. Once he goes back to this spot, you're going to get, oh, okay, I'm going to get reinforced. Then, and rats are very fast learners. So he will already learn that, okay, when I'm over here, I'm not going to get reinforced. So he'll continue to get to this second step. Once this happens a couple of times consecutively, you're going to move to your next step, which might be a little bit closer, right? Right here. Now he's in front of it. He's in front of the lever. So only when he's in front of the lever, he's going to get reinforced. Then maybe fourth step might be sniffing the lever. Not even putting his hand on the lever, but just sniffing it. So only when he sniffs the lever is he going to get reinforced. Is this kind of making sense a little bit? A little bit? I'll show you all the video so you can see. Yes?
Why are there so many steps rather than when he goes back to lever to reinforce?
Because they're never how is he even going to know to go and press the lever? That's never going to occur. Or what's your question?
Well, I guess I just mean like, I guess you could just wait till he walks around and then once he's as close to the lever as possible or as if his norm, you can start reinforcing him from that step.
You could, but you might be there all day.
Okay.
And we want these behaviors to start occurring now, right? Or as quickly as possible. Because he's not going to know, you need to start somewhere. Because he's never going to know that, oh, I have to be in that area. Because your rat might just stick to one area. You know, it just depends. But that's a good question.
Nobody's actually ever just put a pellet in the lever and then grabbed the rat and put him in front of the pellet.
And just like force them to do it. No.
You know how if a baby
Yes.
is like walking towards the
Yeah.
toilet or somewhere dangerous, you're like, no, and you grab
Right,
him over
right.
here and then you get whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, but however, we want to make sure we are using, no, that's a good question, but it's just because we do want to make sure that these behaviors last. So just by like shoving them there, that might be a little aversive to them. So we want to make sure, you know, we're using, following the reinforcement principles, but I understand completely, especially in real life, right? Sometimes, let's just get them out of the way. But it works. I mean, I think I shake my rat in like 15 minutes to just, yeah, it's really, they're very smart. It's really, really quick. And actually, you know what? I need to find the video. I had a graduate student of mine show me an example, not just with rats, but this other, I don't even know what he does as a profession. He shaped pigeons to put coins in a vending machine. Not pigeons, I'm sorry, not pigeons. Crows. Crows. To put, yes. He used shaping procedures to get the crow to pick up money from the floor, put it in the slots, and from there, then they push the button. I need to find the video so I can show you all, but I didn't even know about it. It might be, I think it's TED something. I don't know if it's TED.com.
Oh, TED.
TED.com. I don't know, or just put like crow something. But anyway, so that's just another example. You know, of what you can
So
do.
there's a period of extinction after each step.
Yes. would use the little food pellets. But with individuals, it would just whatever they like, you would use. So whether it's food, whether like cookies or crackers, you would choose your reinforcer. So here, this brings us to what you were saying. Yes, we want to reinforce each successive approximation and extinguish the previous one. So, with step 1, we're going to reinforce that step. Once they consecutively are engaging in that first step, what do? Extinguish the first step. And we're going to reinforce then which one? The next step, step 2. And then once consecutively step 2 develops, then we're going to put that one on extinction and reinforce which one? The third one. And so forth and so forth. Okay? Now, Nicole, I know you mentioned, why not just stick and shove them in front? Now, you don't, although it says don't make sure that or to make sure that your steps are not too large, you also want to make sure that they're not too small, so don't come up with 15 steps for him to press the lever. You really only need just maybe 5, less than 5. You really don't need that many. So that too,
So that would, or maybe that would be more modeling. I guess
More of
I guess puppies, I kind of am picturing, let's say you kind of grab the rat, or you kind of have the pellet, they're hungry, so you kind of let them sniff it as you're going to put it to the lever, and then push it or put it and let them, just kind of play with it until they know. You show them, and that's the thing, is that then you would use modeling, and it wouldn't be shaping.
Shaping is because you could model, you could show, especially, children with autism sometimes, depending on their level, you could show them and tell them they are not going to pick it up. So that's why then, this works.
You have to be able to process it on their.
Yes, and you have to teach them. That's the thing, is that they're all capable of all these skills, but they need to be taught how to do these skills. Okay? And then just, move at a proper pace. Don't move too slow, don't move too fast. Like I said, I would say if they can consecutively engage in each step 3 times before you move on, I think that's a good pace. Because it happens really quickly. So, that's pretty good. Okay.
In the lab, do you always get new rats that don't know, or are these rats
Yeah. No. I'm not going to tell you what we do with the old rats. They're new rats.
We don't know what we're doing.
No. We train them to act like they don't know. No, they know. They're new. They're all new rats, and I think I actually haven't been in the lab in a while, but I think what they're doing now is they're breeding them that way, because we were just ordering, and we could just breed them. Babies, so that's what we do.
They had some pups last semester, in spring.
Did they order them, or did they had them, didn't they? Had them, right? Yeah. I think that's what they're doing now. They're cute. Little white rats. Oh. Let me show you. Here, this is what I found online. So we don't need this easy music, forcefully. But anyway, this is just something I found on YouTube, and it's close to shaping. So there's a little kid who actually used this as a project. So, see, anyone can do it. So initial exposure. Actually, our lab rats are the white ones with the red eyes. Can you see? Is it going? Oh, yeah. Okay. So see, she's just there. She's just kind of sniffing and then just getting used to the box. So did y'all see the little pellet came out, but she's still kind of exploring.
Wants to get out.
So in this shaping procedure, yeah, approaching the liver, that's her first step. So just kind of for even, okay, getting her nose in there, she gets the pellet. So there she is, she's like, oh, that's what it was. You see how now by the third approach, she was pretty fast too. She saw the, food come out and she knew to get there. So now sniffing the lever is the next step.
She's trying to figure out at the same time why the pellet comes out, what she's doing.
So right now it's like, okay, well she knows food's gonna come out of there, but now she's kind of like, hey, well last time I was here and I got food, but now I didn't get food.
So do animals sing? I think they
Well,
do
I
to
mean
a
they're,
certain-
they're.
So like, to what extent do they think? Because this would take like she would have to think about like what she was doing,
They're pretty smart, the rat, and that's why a lot of times in the laboratory rats are used, just because I think they do have pretty good cognitive abilities. I think I'm not. I mean, I'm my area is not in that field, but I know that they're very smart animals. So there you go, just touching the lever. Oh, there you go. So see, for the third step, they wanted to make sure she really, knew that, okay, let me touch this lever, and then that's this when I'm going to get reinforced. So they did several approaches, and then now the last step is actually pressing the lever.
They like loosen up the lever. Because the first time she touched it, didn't move whatsoever.
Because she didn't even put it force. She just touched it. This now she needs to put force down.
Yeah, I see the importance of the pride, the sense of self-reliance and self-fulfillment,
And so see now, hey, you just put her in there. She's hungry. She knows what to do. She's going to push that lever to get her food. And so that's basically shaping her rat. It's really not that hard. It's really fun too. Like to actually, conduct that in the laboratory. It's pretty interesting. And then when you actually apply this to individuals, when let's say you're trying to teach them how to say the word banana, and they don't know how to say banana, and you use shaping procedures to get get them to say the whole word, that is just the greatest moment ever. You know, that you were able now to teach them how to say the full word, banana. Whatever, anything. You can use it in speech and in anything. Being able to tie their shoes, being able, to go to use the restroom on their own.
But then where do you take them off of that to where, like, again, they don't expect your treat every single time?
So, like, let's say, like, in teaching them how to say banana, okay? Like, I actually, and y'all are probably going to laugh at me, but I use this to teach my son words, okay? So, his first word was cracker. And what you do is, well, he's trying to learn how to say cracker because he wants a cracker, right? So what you do is, I started off with him just saying anything, any vocal production, whether it was ah or anything, right? Just him saying any type of vocal production. And I knew he wanted the cracker because he was grabbing it, okay? So that's something else. You want to make sure you're using something that they're motivated for. So yes, right? He was reaching for the cracker. I had him say something. I kept saying cracker, cracker, and he said something. I gave him a little piece of the cracker, right? So he got the reinforcer. I know. Hey, God. My kid has a lot of words, and I'm not, I'm just saying that it works. That's all I'm saying. And he's not even a year and a half yet, and he's just, like, he has 20 plus words. So he's very talkative.
When they get close, like, yeah, you give them a little bit.
A little bit, right. So then, let's say I actually think then he started saying, like, crack, right? For the longest time. Hey, crack, I know. So, crack, that's closer, right, to cracker. So now, when I knew, okay, he says crack, he wants cracker, I'll give him more of the cracker. And if he says anything less than crack, I'm not going to give him cracker until he says crack. I know, that's right. Then, but it actually maybe took me a day. It was really quick. Then he started saying cracker. When he said cracker, I gave him the whole cracker, and I was, tickling him, getting all excited. So next time, if he said crack, I wouldn't give it to him until he said cracker, because I knew that he already knew how to say cracker, right? Oh, no, now it's like crackers, and you can say juice and water and everything. A lot of things. And so I'm just showing you how you can apply it, to your everyday, to individuals. Okay. But I know, trust me,
So when you take away the stimulus, though, it's not the same as shaking. That's the negative reinforcement, right? Like for example, my son he does it all the time, but he still wants his pacifier. Sometimes he's sleeping and he just wants to do that oral fixation on something. But when I take it out, he'll be like, he's not crying. He's just like a little spoiled, and he'll expect me to give it to him, and I won't sometimes, and he might cry a little, but I'm trying to get him off of that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to give it to him to begin with.
So what would that be?
So
what procedure do you think that would be?
it happens when you sleep.
You do extinction.
It would be extinction. Mm-hmm. But you'd have to make sure that you do that every time. Because let's say you start to implement, right? So you're trying to get him off the pacifier, but he's gonna start and he might even start crying and throwing tantrums and all of that good stuff.
Like this,
You still don't give him the pacifier, because if you do,
it teaches him that's what I do to get my way. Yeah.
well, not just that, but it's going to take you that much longer for, to extinguish that behavior.
So you have to stick with it once you start.
Yes. Which, another example, my son, I know he's ready, well, the doctor actually said cognitively for potty training is about 24, they said 2.5. But, man, I see a lot lot of people training their kids at 15, 16 months old. I mean, I don't know. Has anyone potty trained their kids? How old was yours? 11 months. They say as soon as they can walk and talk, right? Or say at least a few words. Here's two.
And do you do it by modeling or by?
Well, there's different ways.
I took mine with me to the restroom.
Just, yeah. They say to expose them to it. So, yeah, have them see, right? Modeling, both parents, they go to the restroom, all of that. But once you get started, you have to continue. So,
I had carpet in my house in the living room, but it was like one of those throw.
Yeah.
And they would hear whatever, and I would have to use them on like literally the front until they were able to.
Yeah.
As soon as they were done, I took the carpet out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what they say. Make sure you have like newspaper and like cover up, But what I'm trying to say is, once you start, you need to continue. So my example was my mom, because my mom takes care of my son, and she texts me. My son's name is Luke. She's like, Luke's ready to be potty trained. Because when he poops, he squats, right? So she's like, he squatted, so I took him straight to the restroom, and like he pooped in the toilet, and I thought, I don't even have a seat for him, the little seat, and I don't have time right now to potty train him, so I know it's not going to be consistent. So I just told her, thanks, Mom, for trying, but stop, because you don't want him to get confused. Because then, if you put the diaper back on, then you're going to say, well, why am I going to go in the toilet when I just got my diaper? So you need to, be consistent with that once you start with anything. Okay. What is next? Okay, so now what I want you all to do is to get into groups of 3 or 4, which we're small, so yeah, 3 or 4. And on page 174, I'm going to turn the lights on, so watch your eyes. On page Page 174 on the bottom where it says applications, you're going to do number 1. And you're going to answer on page 175, it says A through F. You're going to answer those questions. So let me just read you what it says really quick. It says, imagine you live in a house with a backyard. The door to the backyard is in your family room. You let your dog Felix out into the backyard a few times a day. You decide you would like to teach Felix to bump the doorknob on the back door with his nose before you let him outside. Currently, whenever Felix wants to go outside, he walks around the family room and often walks past the back door. Describe how you will use shaping to teach Felix to bump the doorknob with his nose. Okay? So, let's look at B really quick. What is your target behavior? Just to get you all started. What's your target behavior? Bumping doorknob with nose. Yeah.
Do you want just one paper?
Yeah, you can do just one paper and make sure you put everyone's name on it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, the only thing is, I don't know if both show.
Can we have
Do you
5?
want, is it 2?
Well, maybe we could do the first part.
You don't want to share? Okay. Thank you. Do you all need?
Is it okay if you come to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on, everybody. I just want to make sure everybody has it through. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so A is, one paper is, to bump the
We're doing number.
You can read that one on your own. We're not gonna have time to do chapter 8.
No, I have it. I'm just trying to make sure.
It's an hard. Oh, yeah. To stop at the door.
So.
What we're trying to do. Yeah, what I did.
What we use a reinforcement to retreat.
Every time he gets me in the door,
I think it would be weird because
like
he could get confused of saying yeah, or open and making or turning the doorknob so that it pops open. So that he knows that like, oh, something's gonna happen. To get to the second one, I think that's the first thing you need to catch it.
Oh yes. For everybody, really quick. Differential reinforcement. All that means is when you reinforce one behavior and you extinguish another. For now, that's all you need to know.
So the reinforcement would be
yeah, just open it so it can go out. Because we're trying to until like when you said we have to get to a certain point so we can play people in the door. If he walks by it, we open it. Oh, I can go inside. Next time he gets like 5 feet, now we send our something else. We should get 2 feet closer to it, and then we open the door. So would it be 14? Open the door.
When he just gets a certain space.
When he takes you, or when he what? Because it would be
To face the door. Don't let him answer the door.
when he is facing. Yeah. Now we're in D. What are the successive approximations?
Yeah, the successive approximations. The person needs to be a certain amount of feet away from the door, and then face the door, and then bump the door. This is what he wants. So like the space is already, he's like, what?
So for C, we have to say the distance to the door be so when we open the door when he's
What is
facing
the
when
what
he
is
is when he is a certain distance from you. I'm assuming predetermined distance.
Yeah.
So when he said to like cars, he said,
what you're going
You know, the little steps.
Uh,
He gets once you open them, it's just before it happens in the second car.
and it's the dog that we're talking about.
what do you mean?
Having to get closer
Have you tried that with your dog? Try to give him a treat again to go to the bathroom? I think with dogs that anytime you give her a good treat, they have to go right there. So you something that's like really powerful.
Stay first to behavior until he gets close. Once he gets to a certain grade,
Is everybody done? Hey, I'll give you all just a couple more minutes.
the E is to distinguish the approximation. You can't open the door.
It feels like it has an edge or anything. Red brick, so it's kind of like it gets closer.
Oh. You mean like to put himself to sleep or to sleep on his own?
natural.
Well,
Would it be the actually going to the
So maybe when you find he bumps the door, we pet him or give him something.
What is the book about?
We know when he walks, launching or stopping, no longer
Those are her direction.
So a natural something where what's your reinforcement like for your approximation?
That we open the door.
Every time you get to push the
What would be something more powerful?
like a treat, right? So every time you get close,
If you wouldn't get confused between penetrate every time it goes outside.
No, because then, which we'll talk about in the next chapter, right? Like wait out flyers around so you can give a treat for every right. Then after you open that, natural you don't have to give them anything. It's just and there's no yeah. And guess what? Whether it's to play or that. Okay, so let's see what everybody got. Let's go ahead and go over the questions. So for the first one, okay, so we're trying to train our dog how to bump the doorknob with his nose. That's the target behavior. What was your starting behavior? What did y'all get? What did y'all put?
His turn, going to the family room, then to the back door.
So maybe just being in the family room? Because the back door is in the family room.
Okay, yeah, well, you'll go to the back door and you'll come back in to sort of let you know what's going on.
Okay.
What about when Felix passes the back door?
Okay, so maybe a certain distance from the back door, right? Okay, so let's say 5 feet from the back door. Okay, that could be a starting behavior. Let's just say. Okay, then, all right, so walks in 5. Oh, you can't. Oh, this is lighting the board. Walks within 5 feet of back door. That would be a good starting or an example of a starting behavior. Target behavior we already said was bumping the doorknob with his nose. What will you use as a reinforcer during chasing? Dog treats. I know some of y'all might have said, well, we could open the door a little bit at a time, but why do you think that, for those of you that did put dog treats, why do you think that might not work or not be as effective? His way?
Confusing the dog, you just slightly open and closing it. It's not the feet that you're trying to.
Okay, yeah, you might confuse the dog, but why else? What do we know about the effectiveness of a reinforcer?
It has to be the shape or the mouth. And it's kind of too little or too much.
So the amount of a reinforcer is important. What else though?
Oh, what they like.
What they like. So a dog treat at that moment probably is going to be more powerful than actually going outside. They love dog treats, right? You just, if they find anything, they'll just gobble it all up, right? They love dog treats. What else? How about immediacy? So we need a reinforcer that we can immediately give out. As soon as that behavior or that successive approximation occurs, we need something that we can just, here you go, right? Give it to them immediately. That way they know that, okay, well, when I did this, I got a treat right away. So guess what? I'm going to do this again so I can get a treat. And then, okay. What are some of your successive, so I just put, dog treats or whatever they like, or, some like real food, some like bacon, something.
What about petting and saying good boy?
If that know your dog, right? However, most dogs I think would probably take a dog treat over petting, but you never know. What about, oh yeah, so what are your successive approximations? So after he is, let's say, 5 feet from the door, what's the next step? You're going to extinguish. What's going to be your next step that you're going to reinforce? 2 feet, right? A little bit, 2 feet away from the door. Then maybe 1 foot. Then maybe just sniffing it, right? The knob, and then finally putting the nose on the doorknob. Okay, so just as long as they're closer steps. So this is just an example. Walking 5 feet from the door, facing the door. Okay, so walking. So that means they're just kind of like walking around, right? They're going to get reinforced. So they're not even really facing the direction of the door. Then the second step could be, well, now he's turned around. Okay, now I'm going to reinforce him. So now he knows, okay, well, I need to be facing the door. Now what? Okay, now let's say 2 feet. Then 1 foot. Then, what's the next one? Yeah, then finally, if you start sniffing the doorknob, touching it, so you're going to reinforce it. And then how will you use differential reinforcement? We have to just said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, extinction and reinforcement procedures. So you will extinguish, let's say from the beginning, you're going to extinguish the starting behavior once it occurs, right? Consistently, you're going to extinguish the first step, and then you're going to reinforce what step?
Facing the door.
From your starting behavior. Yeah, facing the door, step 2. And then, right, then you extinguish step 2, reinforce step 3, go on until you get to the final behavior. And then, what's the natural reinforcer? Going outside. That's the natural reinforcer. Because you don't have to give him any, it's not something you had to train him to like, you didn't have to train that. It's just not being outside, going to the bathroom, playing with his ball, whatever he likes to do outside. That would be a natural reinforcer. All right. Let's take a 10-minute break, and then we're going to do one more activity. Okay? Because I know people are probably wanting to get up. So you can take a little break, and then we'll do an activity. Go ahead and turn in your papers too.